This is a nice trick because you don't need a table, which is handy, and the deck has no setup really, which is also nice. So what we're going to do for the trick though is we're going to try to do a trick that has to do with the time machine in the deck. And you may not know this, but every deck of cards actually has a time machine in it, and it's always the same card, and it's the Ace of Spades. So we'll quick look for that. There he is. So the Ace of Spades is the time machine for the deck. We'll leave him on top for now. We'll have somebody say stop. They can say stop anywhere that they like. Let's say they said stop right at the 10 of Spades. We'll leave it in the center. In the middle it goes. And what we're going to do is take the ace in after it. To get the time machine to work, all you have to do is just shake the deck a little bit like this. And that will make the ace go back in time to where the 10 was in the middle and the ace was on top. So that was a pretty good trick, but I want you to see it happen so you can actually see when they both switch places and go back in time. So what I'll do, put the 10 in the middle again, just like before. Put the ace in after it, okay? But this time I want you to get to see the ace from the face side. So watch the ace right there. And in that instant, the ace changes to the 10. And that means if the 10 is in the middle of the deck, then the ace must be on top of the deck. So for the trick, you just need a deck of cards, and what you're going to do is show them that all the cards are different, and what you're going to look for is the Ace of Spades. Now you make sure not to mention the Ace of Spades before the trick, because then they'll be looking for it when you go through. But you're just going to go through, and what you're going to do is when you see the ace, touch the card next to it, kind of lift up a little bit, and put your pinky or ring finger, whichever is more comfortable, in that spot, right above the ace. Then when you square up the deck, all you have to do is this, square it up, and you're going to put your other pinky finger in that spot and square up the top like this. Now you've got a nice pinky break right above the ace. I taught this in another video, the card locator, so you can work on that. And what you're just going to do now is give the deck a couple of cuts below the pinky break. So you're going to cut a couple of times just random chunks of cards, and then you're going to cut right at that break you've made. This will, of course, send the ace to the top. Now there's a top pop tutorial I also have where you can learn this move, or if you don't like that one, or you don't want to learn it, you can just pull it from the top and explain you have the ace for this trick, and it's the time machine and stuff like that. Then all you're going to do, dribble down, or pardon me, riffle I guess. They can say stop, put your thumb in there, count 1, 2, pull it out. This is a double, okay, and you're going to turn it over. So you want to get 2 cards, the selection, the 9 in this case, and the card above it. Now what you're going to do is drop the 9, or actually the card right above it, into the middle of the deck, and they think it's lost. Don't shuffle it in or anything, because you want to make sure to pull the ace from the top now. And so you got the ace, and what you're going to do, you've done a double lift here, so do a double, turn it over, and slide it into the middle, like so. Then most people would now twist the ace around like this to go back in time, but to be consistent, I say that it's a shake for my trick, and that's what makes the ace go back in time, where the 9 was in the middle and the ace was on top. So that part, it's pretty much self-working. All you need is a couple of double lifts. So what you're going to do now is you're going to get a little break with 2 cards above the ace and the top card, and you're going to pull out the 9. You're going to pick up all 3 of these cards, a random card, ace and 9, or whatever the selection is. You're going to take the 9 and turn it over, flip it onto the back here, and this is putting the random card on top of the 9. Then you're going to do the same with the ace, but you're just going to flip it onto the deck, and then what I do is usually hit this and do sort of like a, David Blaine's double lift here to help flip that over. Then basically you could, if you wanted to, after you flip that, you could just go like this, which doesn't look very natural but would be pretty easy to do. Most people wouldn't catch it. then you're going to take the 9 into the middle, but it's actually a random card. Okay, with me so far? Right now you should have the selection and the ace on top. Next, double lift. Okay, take the ace and the 9, and you're going to place them both into the middle. So when I do this, I usually grab them by the end here, so that's the most convenient, and I put a good bend in them. Now this is going to help to keep those cards snug together, whereas if you just did them flat, they might come apart more easily. So put a bend, find a spot, and make sure that this part is facing the audience, and don't try not to let them see the side as much as you can. So put it genuinely somewhere halfway in the middle, and it doesn't matter where. Now what you're going to do is this change here. Okay, this is one that I'm sure has been done numerous times before, but I came to on my own. So the way it works is you've got 2 cards, and what you're going to do is you're going to act like you're just adjusting this card in here. What you're actually doing under the cover of your hand is pushing the card behind it back, about 1/5 of an inch. So like this, and when you're doing it, it kind of goes like that. Now of course you don't want for that card to go off to the side at all, so what you want to make sure to do is, using your thumb and fingers on the deck, keep those cards squared. So, and you can even put your finger on the side here, so when after you stick them in, that will help to keep them squared with those fingers. And after you've done this, you're now in position, so with your ace here and your other card, and what you're just going to do is shake the cards, and while you shake, you're going to lift up. That'll help you lift up that first card and slide it into the middle all the way. Okay, and then you're going to keep shaking and put your finger back so it doesn't really look like you have a lot of movement going on, as in it doesn't look like your finger moved. So when you do it well, get in position like that. So in and out, and hopefully, you know, the movement of your hand is going to cover that. I use this too. Sometimes I can say, okay, you know, to a spectator here, would you grab that card, and it'll switch. So that's a move that I like to use sometimes, and pretty practical, not too difficult to do. The farther out it is, the harder it is, but do whatever you want. You really only need to have, you know, about a 1/2 inch showing so they can see the pip of the card. So here's the card, shake, and it changes. Now the next part is something not everybody will want to do, but I'll explain it, and then I'll give it also another option of how you can do that. How clever of me. So what you want to do here is you have the ace slid all the way into the deck there, and their card sticking out. And what I do is I flip over the deck, and then I do a Herman pass in the act of pulling out the card. So I just cut the cards there and cut the ace to the top. So the way this works, you have the ace here, you've just done your color change, and the 9's in the middle. And this is what it looks like. First thing I do is put the 9 over to the side like this. Okay, 9's in the corner. Then what I'm going to do is I usually take my fingers and I get a little break from the 9 into the deck. Okay, so you want to try to get a break under the bottom half of the cards. And then I really curl my fingers underneath and I hold the 9 in place like this. Now the ace is here, and that's what I want to get to the top using the Herman pass. I have a video for that as well. Push that in, and what you're going to do is do your pass. You're holding the 9 on like this. You're going to do the pass all the way under, and then once you got here, to cover the pass, you can now drop this packet onto your hand, and you can hold the 9 on with your hand, and as you go over, you're going to set this on top in the act of pulling out the card. So that goes on top in the act of pulling it out. So like that. And without the cover, it looks something like this. So got a break under there holding the card in place. You can also use your index finger to sort of clip that. Slide it all the way under, and then go to pick up the card, and your hand will naturally cover it in the act. And then what I do is I pulled it out, flip it over, stick it back in. So in this sequence, I'm just going to go through this real fast again. Ace, stick it in, adjust, make it change, send it over the corner, and pull it out, and I move the ace to the top. So this is very difficult, but a much easier way to do it is like this. Ace in the middle, adjust, pull in and shake, and then you can just say, ask them to hold out their hand and set the 9 on their hand and cut the deck right there. And you don't have to have the 9 being set on their hand necessarily. You can just put it right there in your fingers and then flip over the deck and stick this back in the middle. And what you've just done is cut the cards. So basically the main thing is you need a reason for cutting the cards, and the reason that you're giving yourself is pulling this 9 out. Say so the 9 came out, and now the 9 is in the middle, and that means that the ace is on top. So if you'd rather do that, you can. I just discovered that this worked for the time machine plot, but you can really use that utility move for anything you like. So thanks for watching.